Alright, before we hop into the video today, just a quick thank you to our sponsor, Sports TNB. Hey, if you play 2K, you know the grind is real. The badge grind can get tough, so if you're looking to buy a stacked NBA 2K account with max badges and everything like that, visit sportstnb.com. Make sure to let him know Hayden YT sent you, and he'll get you everything you need. He's legit. First link in the description down below. Go check it out. What's up, everybody? Hayden here, and today we're back with a brand new Georgia commit video. Today we have Carson Beck, the pro-style quarterback out of Jacksonville, Florida. He goes to Mandarin High School. He's 6'4", 226. He's a 4-star, ranked 149th nationally, 5th pro-style ranked quarterback, and ranked 23rd in the state of Florida. So Carson became a hard commit to Georgia way back in March of 2019, just 4 days after his official visit to UGA. He was originally committed to Alabama, but he opened up his recruitment process again, and then he went to Georgia, like I said, and it was over from there. He committed to Georgia. So backtracking a little bit to around his earlier days of his recruiting, Georgia was actually one of his first visits, I believe, early on. But the interesting thing here about that, while I'm mentioning this, is that Georgia backed off with no offer because Jim Chaney didn't like his throwing motion at the time. So on his visit, Jim Chaney didn't like it, and now Jim Chaney's at Tennessee, so maybe this could be a blessing in disguise. Maybe Jim Chaney leaving, James Coley coming in as offensive coordinator. You know, maybe Carson Beck becomes a star, and Jim Chaney leaving was a blessing. I'm just messing around a little bit, but yeah, maybe. But that was a big reason as to why I'm assuming Carson Beck committed to Georgia was Jim Chaney leaving and James Coley coming in. I think that's probably had a little bit to do with it. As well as he was actually, in an article, he did say that he's always wanted to, like, as a kid, his dream school to play at was Georgia. So that had a little bit to do with it as well. But yeah, I was just joking around a little bit about Jim Chaney there. But yeah, getting back on topic here, his throwing motion is a concern for some people out there. But I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later on in the video. Moving on to his playing time, about him starting up his football career in high school. He was able to get some of his first playing time as a sophomore at Providence School. He wasn't the original starter there. The starter went down with a torn ACL, so Carson was able to step in. And he mentioned in an article that he played with a chip on his shoulder because he believed that he really should have been the guy as a freshman and a sophomore. He should have been the starter for Providence. But then after his sophomore season, he transferred to Mandarin High School after his Providence coach was fired and a bunch of people graduated from the school that were, I guess, the top-notch players, I'm assuming. Going to Mandarin looked like a tough task because that team was 2-8 before he got there, and he actually led them to their first ever state championship in school history while achieving Mr. Football in the state of Florida. So that's a pretty big accomplishment there, getting Mr. Football out of all the people, all these football players in one state. It's just crazy that he was the guy to come out with Mr. Football after people probably didn't see that coming. He came out of nowhere his junior season and lit up the state of Florida and led them to that state championship, like I said. But talking about some stats here, his sophomore season, in those 4 starts that he was able to get, he had 994 yards and to 16 touchdowns. And in his junior year, where he exploded onto the scene at Mandarin, he had 3,546 yards, 39 touchdowns, and only 8 interceptions to go along with those. And I was able to actually find some stuff on his senior season here. But his senior season is now officially over. Mandarin finished 7-4, and they had a first-round playoff exit to the undefeated Seminole team. Carson had a pretty significant step down in stats where he finished with 1,843 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, and 9 picks. I think his team lost a lot of talent. I'm pretty sure his offensive line is not the best. The Mandarin's actually ranked out of the top 1,000 nationally, and they're barely a top 100 school in Florida. So yeah, I don't think he had a lot of talent around him. So I don't really want to put too much into the stat drop, where he almost pretty much halved his stats in just about every category. But he was still able to keep his interceptions down, which is I guess that's one positive you could take from this past season. Yeah, I don't want to put too much into stats. Can't really ever put too much into stats. It's really the tape kind of shows that he has the abilities to be a good quarterback. Just take his senior season with a grain of salt, I guess you could say. Alright, enough with numbers and everything like that. So starting off, let's talk about what his offensive coordinator actually said about him in an interview with Dog Nation. He mentioned that Carson Beck has a Jake Fromm head on his shoulders, but with a Matt Stafford arm. That's some high praise right there. That's really good if that's the case, if that's what actually pans out here with Carson Beck. because Jake Fromm has a really high football IQ. Matt Stafford had an arm, like we all know. That gets me pretty excited for Carson coming into Georgia, especially being a guy that's been around him for the past couple of years, his offensive coordinator. So he knows a little bit more about him than we do. So Beck actually has a pretty athletic background. He's played baseball, and he was actually an SEC baseball prospect, where I believe Florida was interested in him to come play baseball for them before he actually chose football as his college sport he's going to be playing. And he also has a little bit of an AAU basketball background as well. So the guy's just an athlete. I mentioned this earlier in the very beginning, but he is a pro-style quarterback, and that fits pretty nice into Georgia's system that we have now. So he's a pocket passer at heart, but when you look at him, you wouldn't think he has this running ability, but he has some pretty nice skills when he runs the football, and he can shock you for a guy who's pretty tall, 6'4", and he can move a little bit on his feet. And as a passer, he has like his offensive coordinator stated, he has a big arm. He has a Matt Stafford kind of arm, with great accuracy, great ball placement skills. You'll see in the highlights that he puts the ball right where it needs to be for these receivers, hits them in stride. And some of these throws that he makes are just pretty crazy, honestly. And reading up a little bit on Carson, I actually listened to a couple interviews and things like that. There's been some people, pretty notable people, I guess, that have mentioned that he's made some throws that they really haven't seen before, like some crazy throws, like why would you even throw that kind of throw, where he gets it done, he finds a way, and he's really accurate as a passer. All right, I said I would touch a little bit more on his throwing motion. So personally, it doesn't really scare me that much, because he's able to change his release speed, as I can tell, and he changes his arm angle up on certain throws that he does. And if he needs to make these kind of timing throws, these really quick, like slant passes or crossing routes or things like that, he can get it done. He can really have a quick release speed. But then if he's not being all that pressured much, he actually has he does have a pretty longer release when it comes to the deep ball, and that can work sometimes when you're not being pressured. It has a little bit. I mean, I guess it could push some people off about him, but I don't really see his motion being too much of a problem. Just to kind of recap a little bit or whatever, the thing I really like about Carson, I touched on it a little bit, but I really like his sneaky running ability. Like, you'll see a couple of these highlights that I put in the end of the video, that he can move a little bit. He can juke some people out. He can dive over you. He finds a way to get through these gaps, and when he has a chance to run, he'll do it, and he can do it. But he's not always gonna do it. He's not like some dual threat like a Justin Fields who is looking to run. Sometimes he knows when to run, and he knows when to pass as well. Another thing is that he has the intangibles. He has everything you really need to be a good quarterback. I think Carson's gonna be a good one if he pans out the way he should. He should be a really nice fit coming into Georgia's system. And like I said, I'm pretty excited for Carson to be here. He seems really committed to Georgia. He seems like this is the school where he wants to be. So yeah, hopefully come signing day, he picks Georgia. He officially signs with us. So yeah, but that's everything you need to know about Carson. It's time to get into the highlights. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe. Put some feedback down below in the comment section. Make sure to turn on post notifications. Click that bell to know when I post videos. And yeah, it's been Hayden. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out. Enjoy the highlights.